one here called bow and arrow. This one can be really fun.
I did that one.
Yeah. Did you get all of them?
I got, how many are there?
3.
I got 2.
Most people can get 2, but not the 3rd. Because the one down here requires you to really lower your energy a lot. You have to really slow down your breathing and limit the amount of oxygen you're taking in with each breath. It's easy to get these 2, but it does involve shooting, which kids love. And if I have an adolescent, who, is just not really very patient, I'll start them after a little bit of time doing the direct feedback screen and the juggling balls. I'll try to get them to try this one. So when you click on you have to click on the string, okay, and then you move your mouse back, and that causes the arrow to move backward. Okay, you have to click on it first, and then I draw it back with the touchpad. There's different ways to do it. You'll have to fool around with it. Okay, and then when you have to breathe fast so you can get it to aim. Okay, see how it goes up when you breathe more quickly? There you go. Okay. Now you want to stabilize your breathing. Try to make it really regular, and then see. Got the first one there. Yeah. Okay. Now see if you can slow down your breathing. Get a click. A little bit more. That's good. You're almost there. That missed. Back again. You can get somebody working on this, even if they're hyperactive, for a good 10 minutes frequently, which is great. Okay, there you got the second one. All right. So.
And now, we'll see if you can get the 3rd.
So what you want to do is you want to try to keep your kids working on different tasks as long as you can, so that you have them engaged in an activity of actually doing regular breathing exercises, relaxation exercises for 10 to 15 minutes, because that will actually change their mood. And if you can keep them doing it for 10 minutes of time, you'll find that they feel good, and then they're much more likely to try something like this at home. If you don't keep doing that, keep them doing it long enough, they're not going to have the same experience. Okay.
That's the limitation of the equipment.
Yes. Well, now the freeze framer. Okay. This is a whole different biofeedback system called the freeze framer. And it's actually really good to have this too, because when you have somebody with cold hands, it's going to be really frustrating. They're not going to be able to do any of the tasks. You're not going to be able to pick up the signals the right way, and you're going to be setting them up for failure, essentially. You say, okay, let's do this really great game. It's really fun. And then you hook them up and you find out you can't get a reading on them because their hands are cold. You probably don't have long enough for them to get their hand warm unless they go in the bathroom and put it on hot water. But people's circulation doesn't change that quickly. So what I do is when I get into that situation, hey, good. Okay.
Once you guys started paying attention.
Time's up. Time's up. Okay, so now let me just show you this one thing about. Now, when you see a screen like this, and one of the sensors isn't working. Let's see if we get any reading at all. Okay, we don't get. What you're going to see if their hands are cold is you're going to see lines that are broken. So you're going to see it go up and down, and then there's going to be a space in which you don't have anything at all. And that's what you want to look for. That says that the sensors aren't picking up the signal. Now, sometimes if people hang their hand over like this and don't have it on their thigh, it'll do the same thing. As soon as you see a broken line, check the sensors. And like I said, if their hands are cold, there probably isn't anything you can do about that. So look at that, you're de-stressing really quickly. I would show them that going down. I say that's de-stressing. Right.
So ultimately, you're going to be below that point.
I don't know. I never really thought about that. It could be, but that line changes, you know. So it's not that so much. This really doesn't have a lot to do with what's happening in the games. It's the heart coherence that drives the games mostly. But the skin response does come into it, and that's actually why some of the games are harder than others, because they rely on both the feedback from your heart coherence and the GSR. The more advanced games require both. Okay.
What are the different colors there?
Okay, the yellow is low coherence.
Okay.
The green, now as you move up in the spectrum towards dark blue,
Okay.
that's showing you your coherence. I see there we have a gap. That's what I'm talking about. That kind of gap there means the sensors aren't picking up the signal the way that we want them to. And if you have gaps like that, the games won't work. So if the game is not working like you think it is, like you think it should, you should go back to the feedback screen and check through the feedback screen to see if your sensors are picking up what they need to pick up. Okay. So like I said, if I'm gonna have a problem like this and I don't have that much time in my session, I don't just do this, I do a therapy session too. I use this as part of my therapy session. I'm not gonna wanna fool around with this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna exit this. You can get one of these for about $175. It's good to have. There are other kinds of biofeedback systems you can get to. Just GSR is really cheap. But if you have one other thing to use as backup, it's really helpful. So I unplug this. I plugged in my freeze framer. Okay. This one goes on the ear. Okay. So it doesn't go on the finger. It's using a different input system. And I don't know. Yeah, it's working. You can tell if the light's on, but it's working. So I call this up. And sometimes it's good to do both because the freeze framer has its strengths. It's a little more challenging. It doesn't have a cue, like a butterfly to watch. You have to generate your own cue. But it has a basic feedback screen, just like the other one. And this one frequently has sensor problems too. So this one's actually less reliable than the Healing Rhythms sensor system. So I usually go with that first, and I'll do this in a pinch. Okay, it looks like you're coming through okay there. Now, again, if you breathe slowly and deeply with this, you're going to see the same pattern of even peaks and valleys. And on this one, I have this set to the easy challenge level. So you have, that means that blue, that green light there means that you're showing a coherent pattern of heart rate increase and decrease.
Which is good, right?
Very good. It also gives you an auditory cue of that bell. Okay, I have it set on the easiest level, so it's pretty easy to be successful with this too. So once I have my client showing a lot of green there, then I say, okay, you ready to try one of the games? And then we stop this. Okay, and then you go to, click on this open here.